What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Q&A Hangout. Week 1 of football came and went. Football's back. I know the Chiefs didn't win. It was a kind of ugly, disappointing loss in a few different ways, but I was so glad the football was back. Sunday, watched a bunch of football. Monday night, my editor, Troy, his favorite team is the Vikings. We got to see J.J. McCarthy make a comeback. And now, you're on to week 2. It's Chiefs Eagles, Super Bowl, I say quote-unquote rematch. It is a rematch of the Super Bowl that was played, but I promise you it doesn't matter to that extent. Sure, there are going to be Chiefs players that really want to win this game. I think a lot of Chiefs fans want to win this game. But even if the Chiefs win this game, Chiefs players are not going to walk out of there and be like, oh, wow, yep, that makes Super Bowl 59 feel so much better. It's not. It's not really going to help that much, but you do really turn the page from last year to this year, and every week matters. So every week matters in its own right. I just don't know that you're really looking at it as we're going to avenge this Super Bowl loss. Maybe some Chiefs players are actually thinking that. I'm not going to be thinking that. I'm just going to think, can you win this game and go to 1-1 instead of 0-2? That's not really what we want. Now, we saw that Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle for the Eagles, one of their best pass rushers or just best players probably in general on the defense, he got suspended for a game for spitting on Dak Prescott, but the NFL then said, however, he's already served his 1-game suspension since he didn't play a single snap in that game, and his game check has been forfeited for week 1. Whether you love that or hate that, the NFL was kind of caught, in my opinion, in a little bit of a hard, in between a rock and a hard place, because they said they're going to crack down on certain penalties this year and keep the game more respectful in general. Well, when you have somebody spit on somebody's chest, it's about the most disrespectful thing you can do. In fact, I might go as far to say you're an actual piece of but whatever. Okay, I don't care that it was an Eagles player. You don't do that. That's degrading stuff. It is awful. I remember I was playing soccer when I was younger, and somebody spit at me. I didn't even know what to do in the moment. I wanted to clock the dude, but I was like, yeah, that's going to start like a brawl, like a literal brawl. And I still think about it to this day, how disrespectful and degrading, and I just never got over it. It is nasty stuff, dude. So whatever, he got fined $50-something thousand. He's not going to be suspended week 2 against the Kansas City Chiefs. And okay, if he hadn't played and the Chiefs managed to win on Sunday, which I think is going to be a very tough game, we could get into it. There's going to be no excuses, basically, if the Chiefs win this game. You've got Jalen Carter. It's a really good Eagles team. It's not going to be easy. I think the Eagles are slight favorites over the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs are at Arrowhead. A lot of people are going to predict the Eagles to win this game. I don't know that I'll have an official prediction for this game just yet. I'm going to be talking with an Eagles content creator in the morning and doing a little bit of a preview video with him tomorrow. So I do want to save some of that. And we can still talk a little Chargers, but it's more just, here's how this game went. Here's some of the things that went wrong and what I think the Chiefs, through you guys, it's a Q&A hangout, but how you guys think the Chiefs can kind of bounce back from a team in the Chargers that's good, I mean, really good, and a divisional opponent, but to an Eagles team that's probably better. So it's not going to be easier. You will have home field advantage, which is good. You also have a certain aspect of this matchup that's going to be less weird. I feel like divisional games get weird. Chiefs-Chargers, they get really weird. Chiefs-Broncos, Chiefs-Raiders. It's a divisional game. You study that team more than anybody else, and they get really weird. Now, the Eagles came into Arrowhead 2 or 3 years ago and ended up winning that game late. I think Kelsey had a fumble in the red zone. So it's not the same teams. It doesn't really matter. But this is going to be a hard game. It will not be easy. If you think the Chiefs defense struggled against Justin Herbert throwing to Ladd McConkey and name whoever the hell else they have on offense, well, it's going to be a lot harder with Jalen Hurts and that O-line throwing passes to, well, if he will throw them the ball, which I think he will, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and even Saquon catching passes out of the backfield. I am not extremely worried about the run game. I feel like every time we say, we're worried about the Chiefs' ability to stop the run, whether it's Derrick Henry, even Saquon in the Super Bowl. I don't know that that really matters as much to me. I think they're going to handle that. But I am worried about the pass game, and I think the Eagles are going to see that film and be like, dude, we can do play action, and Hurts is going to have 5 seconds in the pocket to go through his reads, see what book A.J. Brown is over there reading, go through his reads again, and then throw? Yeah, you're going to have to figure some stuff out quickly. Hopefully Christian Fulton's snaps can increase, and you could allow Trent McDuffie to play inside a little bit, less Chamari Connor in the slot. I mean, there's a few different things you're really going to need to work on. And you're down Worthy. I haven't even mentioned the biggest piece in this equation. You're down Xavier Worthy. The only quote-unquote positive in this whole thing is that you have time to prepare for life without Xavier Worthy, whereas in Brazil, Worthy gets hurt third play in, and in real time, you are trying to figure out and adjust. You've got multiple receivers now playing different positions. Mahomes is correcting them out of the huddle, lining them up, fixing it pre-snap while they are at the line of scrimmage. Multiple plays this happened. They stagnated for a few drives and then came alive in the second half. They had time. They made some adjustments. And I think they scored touchdown, field goal their last few drives, and it was very close to touchdown. It didn't matter because even if the Chiefs would have scored a touchdown on that last drive, you still would have had to stop the Chargers on their last drive. And on 3rd and 14 or whatever it was, Chris Jones lost contain. Justin Herbert screams up the right sideline, slides down, game over. Chargers win it. I think they broke a 7-game losing streak against the Kansas City Chiefs. They really wanted that W, and it was much respect to them. I'm not going to sit here and cry about the refs. I'm not going to sit here and cry about really anything other than the Chiefs just need to play better. They need to execute better. They need to get pressure on the quarterback. Justin Herbert completed all but like one pass on third downs, and he had 2 touchdowns on third downs. One of those was extended or redone because of an offsides on George Karlaftis, and it turned it from a 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 3 or something like that. And on that next play was the wide open Quentin Johnston touchdown. But you have multiple Chiefs players tripping over each other, even on that play. Trent McDuffie tripped over, I don't remember which linebacker. I don't remember if it was Drew Tranquil. And that's why Quentin Johnston was wide open. Xavier Worthy and Kelsey collided. There was a lot wrong, a lot of broken coverage. Jaden Hicks gave up a couple touchdowns. You need to get it figured out quickly because it's not getting easier. You don't have a run game. Not really. You don't have a dynamic playmaker back there. You're going to have to be fine with the occasional 5-yard, 10-yard run, maybe a little bit more. Pacheco, it looks like his burst is back, but he's always had vision problems. Kareem Hunt is your short yardage guy and your third down back, but doesn't have the burst. We all know that. Brashard Smith might be your most dynamic running back in the backfield, but he played 8 snaps, I think, last week. He's not ready to have a full workload, in my opinion. So hopefully you can ramp him up a little bit as well. But you're going to be down Rice, who's suspended. You're going to be down Worthy. I don't know if Jalen Royals is going to play either. So you're down 3 receivers. It's really going to be the Hollywood, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton movie. And then Travis Kelce is probably going to be blanketed by a really good linebacking unit of the Eagles. I think if the O-line holds up, it's gonna look a little bit better for sure than Super Bowl 59. You have Josh Simmons now at left tackle. Again, if Jalen Carter was suspended, that helps, but he's not. So, okay, buck up. Let's go. It's time to get ready for the defending Super Bowl champs and try to get a W in Arrowhead, or you're going to find yourselves 0-2. You're already 0-1. Last place in the division. Okay, it's been 1 week. We've seen worse starts. It's not the end of the world, but it's not getting any easier. Maybe week 3 is against the New York Giants is a little bit easier. Week 4 against the Ravens? Yeah, sure. They blew a crazy 15-point lead to the Bills on Sunday Night Football. That was insane. I couldn't believe it. But they're a good team. They just have to protect the football. I already said if the Ravens protect the football and win the turnover battle against Buffalo, they're winning. Well, they would have won had they protect the football. But credit to the Bills. Josh Allen, he was pretty precise, made these impressive plays when needed, checked it down to James Cook at times when needed, and James Cook made 5 people miss, and Collinsworth said that was all on Allen. I'm like, okay. But here's the thing. You go out, you execute, you get it done, you get the W, and you move on. So a lot of people critiquing even the Eagles week 1. We saw them. It was against the Cowboys, another divisional opponent, and I'll quit rambling in a second and turn my attention to you guys in chat. But I just have some things to get off my chest that I think is relevant since football's here. There's just a lot more context to add now and a lot more things to talk about. But yeah, the Eagles won 24-20 against the Dallas Cowboys, and they did that without Jalen Carter. There was no, I think with the Eagles, it was losing Jalen Carter was probably about as rough on their defense as the Chiefs offense losing Xavier Worthy, because you're not planning for your centerpiece to be lost for a game. Two different situations. Worthy was a fluke injury and Jalen Carter was being a literal piece of two different completely different situations. But that's a big piece of your game plan on defense for the Eagles. And then for the Chiefs, that's a big piece of your offense in Brazil. 3 plays in, Worthy's done. I don't know when he's coming back. Maybe in a few weeks. He's going to have to wear a brace, and there's going to be chance of re-injury. But you now have the Eagles, who do have some cornerback issues. Cornerback 2, looking a little suspect over there. But you then lost Worthy. I would have said, yup, Worthy's going to feast in this game against the Eagles, especially if the O-line holds up, which is a big question mark to me. Can Josh Simmons, can Kingsley hold up against a good D-line in the Eagles? I don't know if the Eagles D-line is as good as last year. They lost some key players in free agency, but they're still going to be a great team, a hard-fought opponent. It's not going to be easy. I'm also a little bit concerned about Jawan Taylor. Is this dude really going to have 4 flags in this game? Are we serious? This is not a rookie. Josh Simmons had 2 false starts. Okay, he was nervous. It was his rookie debut. What's Jawan Taylor's excuse? He doesn't have one. So if he gets flagged more than once, in my opinion, Jalen Moore's got to come in. He's done. Net negative. When you have receivers that are hurt or suspended, which is both for the Chiefs, and you have to grind out these yards where you're doing 12, 14, 16 play drives. I think they had a 16 play drive against the Chargers. You can't have the false start. You can't have the holds. When you're averaging 4 yards a play on offense, if it's 1st and 20, it's almost impossible. Now, Mahomes went Super Saiyan in the second half and was incredible and really tried to will his team to a W and did make it close. Was off with Kelsey on a play in the red zone that should have been a touchdown. Mahomes was trying to lead Kelsey. Kelsey pulled up. It would have scored. But the defense couldn't stop Herbert. The defense could not stop Herbert. He was doing whatever he wanted. Anything. It didn't matter. Play action. He had all day. So even if they would have scored, the defense would have needed to hold up. Those are some of my initial thoughts on this game. We'll do more preview stuff later on in the week. But I want to just, I feel like I've probably been going for like 12 minutes here. But there was a lot to talk about. There are concerns. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to hit the panic button, but I'm going to tell you what. Week 2 is not going to be easier than week 1, in my opinion. The only thing, quote unquote, easier is you have time to plan your offensive scheme, plays, all of it, reads, knowing that Worthy's not playing instead of him being the game plan and not having him. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Thank you for listening to my monologue, but there was definitely a lot to process through. Antonio, thank you for the membership. Brand with the 5. Thank you, guys. Part of me wonders if the team was looking ahead to this, the rematch heavily on their mind. They say they don't usually have that mindset, but I don't think they were overlooking the Chargers. The AFC West is not getting any easier. The Chargers are a great team, well coached. I like Harbaugh. I respect what he does, what he brings to the teams he goes to. And when I say I like him, I'm not like, oh, yay, Harbaugh. But it's a respect. I respect Herbert a lot. He's QB6 in the NFL for me for a reason. Ladd McConkey, one of the best slot receivers in the game, was absolutely feasting. I don't think they were looking ahead. I don't know what to say a little bit here about the defense. Mahomes and Andy Reid said we came out flat. Yeah, you lost Xavier Worthy 3 plays in, and it took you 3 drives to adjust because your primary receiver in Hollywood Brown didn't play most of training camp, didn't play in any preseason game. He was rusty, and you could tell he was like falling over in his routes. He was off on his timing, off with Mahomes. But guess what? He started to shake off the rust a little bit, and he started working in and cooking 10 plays or 10 receptions, 100 yards or whatever it was, partially helped by the insane fourth down throw from Mahomes 50 yards downfield. I don't think you're overlooking the Chargers. I don't think you're overlooking your divisional opponents. Maybe if it was the Raiders, I'm saying, okay, that's a trap game. The Eagles game does not matter nearly as much in comparison to the Chargers game. And what I mean by that is the Eagles are an NFC team. It's not going to affect or hurt your seeding chances in the playoffs nearly as bad if you lose to the Eagles compared to the Chargers. They wanted that win, and they wanted it bad. I don't think they were looking ahead. That's just my take on it. I understand they didn't come out and execute. They fell flat, and there's definite concerns. I don't think you're trying to look past a really good team in the Chargers that made the playoffs 1 year with Harbaugh after only winning 3-4 games the year prior because you're so upset about not winning your third Super Bowl in a row. Now, you got embarrassed in the brightest of lights on the big stage. There's no doubt about it. But all these players know, whether it's the Chiefs that win the Super Bowl or the Eagles that win the Super Bowl, you're turning the page and you're looking to the next season. I don't know if it's true or not, but Sirianni said he didn't even know it was banner night week 1. I don't know how you don't know that, but they don't care. The Chiefs don't care when they hang banners week 1 at Arrowhead. They are on the next season. Reeves for the 26 months, in my opinion, I think our run game is not respected. Oh yeah, that's not an opinion. That's actually a fact. Opponents don't respect the Chiefs' run game. They had 2 runs over 20 yards last year, 4 runs over 15 all season long. They know our running backs are not a big threat enough to get big runs, so they can focus on the passing game. Love Pacheco and Hunt, but not threatening. Yeah, and then when Rice is suspended, when Worthy's now injured, Kelsey's 35, he can make plays and get open, just not as consistently. If you think I'm being disrespectful, go watch Travis Kelce in 2018 catch passes in a game. He is cooking everybody a lot. Cornerbacks, nickel, safeties, linebackers. It did not matter. He's cooking them. It's not the same Kelsey anymore. He's still good. He's still very good with that rapport with Mahomes and all that, but he's not who he was. You can't just go out there with Travis Kelce and whoever and be like, yeah, we're gonna go nuclear. It doesn't matter. The defense is gonna double Kelce and we're gonna find him anyway. He's still gonna do that sometimes, but not at the same level. So when you got Worthy hurt, Rice suspended, no Royals, Kelsey's getting a little bit older, and no fear of the run game. Yeah, you just take Kelsey out of the game with a double if you need to, and you could man up on everybody else. The only X factor at times could potentially be Tyquan Thornton. But even then, it just makes it hard. And Mahomes can rise to the occasion. They ask a lot out of Mahomes. He's QB1 in the NFL for a reason. He's doing more with less than almost anybody else in the NFL sometimes. Not necessarily by design. It's the past couple of years been injuries. The running back room is basically the same as last year, and I think Pacheco can have some of that speed and burst back. I think he has shown that in preseason, in training camp, but he still has vision problems. We can't act surprised when Pacheco should bounce outside with Josh Simmons running down the left side and would block for him for a walk-in touchdown up the left side. And instead, he doesn't see it. He stays inside, and it's a 10-yard gain. That's still fine. But we can't act surprised that the running back the Chiefs drafted in the 7th round back in 2022 is still having some of these vision issues. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Pacheco, because I think for a 7th-round draft pick, he has been very valuable. You had fans. It's the opposite end of the spectrum for me with CEH, a 1st-round pick. I think Pacheco has outproduced him, and he was a 7th rounder. You've got Pacheco. You've got Kareem Hunt, who's your short yardage guy and 3rd down back. He doesn't have the burst. We know that. You have Elijah Mitchell, who's a healthy scratch. And then you drafted Brashard Smith in the 7th round. That's fine. But he has 1 year of experience under his belt in the run game. You can use him as a niche guy in the pass game to create intentional mismatches. Yeah, there's not really a running back that teams look at and be like, oh, God, we got to go against that guy. You don't need Saquon in the backfield for the Kansas City Chiefs. Kareem Hunt in 2018 was a third-round pick. Well, he was a third-round pick in 2017, but year 2, 2018, Mahomes' first year as a starter, that dude was going off. And Mahomes still went for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns with a true running back threat. Obviously, he got kicked off the team because of poor decisions that he made that resulted in him really, the Chiefs didn't have a choice. You got to cut ties there. And he's back and cool. There's redemption, all that. But yeah, I think it might have been a little bit of an oversight by the Chiefs to not upgrade their running back room enough. I was hoping they would draft somebody earlier. Not like a first-round pick. I know we're scarred because of the CEH draft pick. Oh, Kareem was a third-rounder. I mean, I get the fact that we needed Simmons in the first round, 100%. You needed some D-line guys. You got Omar Norman-Lott. You got Ashton Gelati. You got Noel Williams. You ended up getting Bossa and then Brashard Smith. I think I named them all off the top of my head. I might have forgot one. But that was the deepest running back class in years. And you go and get Brashard Smith in the 7th round, which is fine, but he's going to take time to develop. So it's not going to be easy for the Chiefs right now without Worthy and Rice. When Rice returns week 7, a little bit of a different story here. But Mahomes is going to have to be him, like he was in Brazil. And I know they didn't win, but he was playing out of his mind in the second half. Wasn't perfect, but was fantastic. Don, thank you so much for the membership. Tay Day with a 2. Losing Justin Reed is biting us. Yeah, I tweeted that out during the game. I said, the loss of Justin Reed and his presence is felt. It's not an extreme surprise to go from a above average to sometimes even great. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say this stuff. I'm just saying if you say, hey, who's a top 5 safety in the NFL? I don't know that you're lumping Justin Reed into that category. But he played really well in Kansas City, knew the system, functioned at a high level in it, and made some plays. We knew going from Justin Reed to the safety room they have now, even trying to entrust more with Jaden Hicks in year 2 was going to have growing pains. The hope was you upgraded the cornerback room enough, bringing in Fulton in free agency, Jalen Watson getting healthy, drafting Noel Williams, that you could maybe absorb some of the loss in high-level safety play or just higher floor, consistent level safety play, because Trent McDuffie sometimes can kick into the slot and Chamari Connor doesn't have to be in there all the freaking time. Well, guess what? You can't be overly frustrated about it, even though it is frustrating, but they're still ramping Christian Fulton up, so Trent McDuffie played 11 snaps in the slot. Chamari Connor played 30. About 29 too many. You're ramping Fulton up. Hopefully he can play more week 2, and Trent McDuffie can kind of move around a little bit more. And Chamari Connor can just get out of the slot. But yeah, you have a decline in safety play. It's not a big surprise, but it still was tough to watch in real time. I think it was just the fact that Spags looked like he had no clue what the Chargers were going to throw at him. Jesse Minter, or that's DC, but their OC, who's their OC? It's the same guy. I'm pretty sure their main coordinator stayed on both sides of the ball. But they introduced some wrinkles, a lot of play action, a lot more throwing the ball than you thought. If they have a new OC, forgive me, but Spags just didn't look ready. I think he's going to admit that when he speaks to the reporters this week, too. They did not look ready. Casey with the 20 bomb. Thank you, man. I don't think you panic after the first game. True. And start giving up on draft picks for players. But you go 0-2 with the same issues like Taylor with penalties. Then you change that more. And running back issues. Then maybe deal some picks. Let's freaking go. Yeah, I mean, we saw the Eagles make a trade. I think the Eagles have made a couple of trades. They had 12 picks in next year's draft. I think the Chiefs have 7. So they have a bunch of picks that they can kind of mess around with and deal, yeah, sure, the Chiefs can make a move. I don't know who's available right now that the Chiefs should go and get. I joked, and actually you could make a legit case to try and go get Tyreek Hill, but the Dolphins aren't going to punt on Tyreek Hill until they know their season's over. You've got Mike McDaniel in the hot seat, in my opinion. If they do not play well, he might get fired. So I don't think trading Tyreek Hill this early in the season is a great idea. And then, yes, he had more allegations surface yesterday, literally as soon as I made a video that said, hey, the Chiefs should consider trading for Tyreek Hill. Guess what happened? With TMZ article surfaces 2 hours later with more allegations of DV from his ex-wife. It's allegations. I don't think there's been any charges or anything like that going on, but that surfaced. I don't think the Chiefs want to deal with that. I just don't. And I don't think your biggest issue right now, if Worthy's able to return in some capacity and then Rice is back week 7, I don't think your biggest issue is wide receiver. But I don't know who you're going to trade for right now. It's tough. I would not want to be Brett Veach. I know some guys on Twitter think they could be. I don't want to do it. No, thank you. I'm just going to be a fan. Morning Sword on 5, or with the 5, not to be dramatic, but would a reload year even be the worst thing in the world? I think we'll bounce back, but still, what's your thoughts? Much love. I wouldn't love the idea of it only because you still have Andy Reid, you still have Chris Jones, who's not getting younger, and you have Kelsey, who's still a great tight end, not getting any younger, possibly on his last year with Mahomes, who's in his prime. Any year that you just say, it's a retool, when you still have the big three, Chris Jones, Kelsey, Mahomes, I think that's an epic failure. Even if you ask Mahomes, you guys, a lot of you watch the Kingdom documentary. What do you consider a success this year for the 2024 NFL season? Mahomes, Super Bowl win. What do you consider a failure for the 2024 NFL season? Mahomes, Super Bowl loss. No in between? No. That's it. So they're not trying to retool. And I don't even feel like how they've been operating with their roster has shown that either. I think it was unfortunate with Worthy getting injured as early as he did while Rice is suspended. And I'm just going to be a little frustrated with Rice too. It's been a year and a half ago, but God, dude, he could be out there right now. If Worthy's hurt, okay, well, at least we got Rice. He made poor decisions. He has owned up to them, and all that's been dealt with in the court of law and all that, but it's still frustrating to think that this never had to be an issue. It's just my frustration is slightly compounded with the fact that Worthy has been injured. But I don't think it's a retool year. It's also very hard to keep the level of success that the Chiefs have had. A dynastic run doesn't last forever for a reason. It's freaking impossible to make it back to the big game year in and year out and sustain that level of success with roster turnover, coaches leaving, players retiring, moving on, money demands. I'm not saying all that's going on with the Chiefs right now. Just that's life in the NFL. You made 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. You've made 7 straight AFC championships. You've won the West 9 years in a row. I still think you probably win the West. You make another deep playoff run. No idea if they make it back to the Super Bowl. I think they have a good shot. But it is very hard to make it back. Go look at all the great quarterbacks in the NFL throughout history that have only won 1 ring. There's a lot of good ones. There's a couple really good ones that have 0. Dan Marino might be at the top of my list for that one. There's only been a few that have won 3 or more, and Mahomes has already done that before 30. But because of that, I don't love the idea of a retool year right now. Chris Jones, a lot of money. Mahomes, a lot of money. Kelsey, $20 million this year. There's a lot that they have done, but then a lot of players are just healthy. You made it to the Super Bowl last year really banged up, and most of that roster returned and they're healthy. Valerie with the membership, thank you so much. Speedy with the 2. We need new scouts. Let me know if you know they're hiring. I have no idea. I know the Chiefs have more scouts than some teams, and they're pretty thorough. Not every draft pick is hitting. 2022 was probably Veach's best draft. This one could be one of his better ones in recent years, but how do you really know until you revisit the draft in about 2 years from now? Can't read too much into a rookie year. Still, sometimes I can't read too much into year 2 either. I'm of the mindset and the opinion you need a third year. I was willing to give Sky Moore a third year last year. I was not optimistic. I had him making the 53-man roster, though, and it was a goose egg. Half the season he was injured, but now he's with the 49ers, and I wish him the best. But I try to give a player his third year. I'm not always that patient, and I will voice frustrations, as will almost all of us, if said player, even in year 2, is doing the same mistakes. Reaps with a 20 bomb. Thank you, man. Very frustrating. We needed a top-tier running back to make the offense to take it to the next level. And I also know Mahomes made that great pass to Hollywood, but what is with his accuracy? It was an issue last year as well. Well, he was 50% on deep balls last week without Worthy, and they completely adjusted their game plan in real time. I was not that bothered or concerned by his deep ball. If you guys watch the NFL, which I'm not saying you didn't, Reaps, but if you watched the Sunday slate, I was watching Red Zone, there was a lot of bad passes, a lot of very inaccurate passes. I just think our standard for Mahomes is so high because he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Or if you want to argue he's in the top 3, or if you would rather not do numbers and just put him in tiers, he's in the elite tier. There's no debate. If you had to start your franchise over and pick a quarterback, some people for clicks would say other quarterbacks, but most people with a brain are picking Patrick Mahomes. His standard is so high that if he's not perfect, we do look at that and we're like, whoa, why wasn't this man perfect? I don't understand. He's almost godlike when the game's on the line. Why can't he do that every single play? He was 50% on deep balls. I've been more encouraged about the deep ball through preseason and week 1 than I think I ever have in the last couple of years, personally. Some of that was off with rapport with Hollywood and some of those passes, but I think it was 4 deep balls. And he connected with Hollywood, which was an incredible throw, by the way, on 4th and 7. Kingsley got torched for an instant loss. It was his worst loss of the night, okay, out of all of them. But it's what happened. He connected with Thornton down the field for that fire drill. The field goal before the half, which was crazy. That was awesome. 50% on deep balls for now. I'm not ultra concerned. Falcon, thank you so much for the membership. Speedy with the 2. Trade for Brandon Cooks. Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a minute. Maybe since free agency, but he's 31 years old, and nobody's trading this early. I mean, I say that, and the Eagles just made a trade for a running back, but a lot of these teams are still going to wait and see what they have. And is Brandon Cooks really going to be a difference maker in the room before Rice gets back? He doesn't know the system. That's part of the issue. But I appreciate the 2 bomb. Tay-Day with the 5. I think we may need to eventually say that Mahomes needs to work on his deep passing touch. I did kind of just touch on that. Sure, the wide receivers aren't perfect, but he's often way off. Well, 50% on deep balls is pretty good last week. I think he thought Thornton was running a slightly different route on one of them. The other one was a slight overthrow. But if you look at the play that Mahomes overthrew Thornton, it was a stunt to the outside, and Josh Simmons completely was fooled by it, at least from what I could tell. He was blocking well, but he didn't peel off for the guy who ran the outside stunt, and he had a free rush on Mahomes. And Mahomes, without being able to step into it, nothing, was this far off from Thornton. I also want to be clear. Mahomes can be better at times with that, with his footwork, with his proper throwing mechanics. I'm not just going to sit here and say Mahomes never throws bad passes. He definitely does, but I wasn't super concerned about the deep ball in this game personally, and I watched it was painful, but I watched every snap on coach's film for about 2 hours after I mean, it might have been longer. I don't know. But I watched the game back, and then I watched coach's film, and that wasn't a huge concerning takeaway for me personally. I was definitely more concerned the pass rush, the secondary, and the defense's inability to get Justin Herbert off the field, and the run game was because Mahomes is the leading rusher. That was my three biggest concerns. Sure, I hope he hits some more deep balls in the future for sure. Seeing the pass rush, that Parson trade. Seeing the pass rush, that Parson trade, don't bad. I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe you're just saying that the Chiefs should have traded for Micah Parsons or something. I don't think the Chiefs were giving up 2 firsts for him, but it would have been fun. It definitely would have been fun. He didn't play a lot of snaps with the Packers, but he did get a sack on Goff, which was an impressive sack for sure. Neil with the 5. Is the cap real for the Eagles? They get to get depth and retain a huge core of their offense and defense. This roster needs a reboot. Yeah, the Eagles definitely operate much differently. They have they're kicking a lot of money down the road. There's void years. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on. And the Chiefs don't operate like that. They're much more conservative with their spending, with their cash spending, even though, to Clark Hunt's credit, he spent a lot of cash recently. So they do manage things a little bit differently for sure. Yes. Barry with the 10. Hey, bro. What's up, man? The way we looked in the secondary, we missed the leadership of Justin Reed. I say we ask the Honey Badger to come back and give him his insights and motivation to get our boys going. I chuckled about that because he is the drum honoree for this game to open up the game. Tyrann Mathieu is. And I said, I responded to the Chiefs on Twitter, X. I said, do not let him leave without a 1-year deal. Sort of joking, because he retired a Saint while still under contract, so the Chiefs would actually have to trade for him. I don't know what you'd actually have to give up, but hey, I did jokingly say that because it would be funny. Did you see how D-Hop hands magically came back? Said Nell with the 2. Yeah, that was a great catch by DeAndre Hopkins for that touchdown in the Ravens game. One-handed magic, boom. The Chiefs just don't like to use receivers with his skill set. They want smaller-bodied, speedy guys that they can scheme open and throw open. Now, Mahomes is trying to do a little bit more of the back shoulder throws, the 50-50 balls, but that's still not how they like to operate. All that to say, that's why when they traded for D-Hop, I don't feel like he really got utilized to his true skill set, but it's because it's not really how the Chiefs' offense operates. We should give Ashton more playing time, said Treyon. What's up? Or trade for a real pass rusher. Our front 4 on defense sucks. It was very underwhelming, and I think Ashton Gelati should get more reps as well. At some point in the game, he banged up his elbow, and that maybe affected his overall snap count. But I would like to see more Ashton Gelati. I agree with you. 1 pressure on 4 pass rush snaps. That's more than Mike Dana had on like 30 or 40 pass rush snaps. And the same as a Minihue, who had 20-something. It's 1 game. It's a small sample size. We really won't know a better picture of the Chiefs' identity on both sides of the ball till like week 4, week 5. And even with that, knowing Rice is coming back week 7, I'm still not going to look at the offense and stress too much if they clean up a couple of things, because Rice is coming back. I hope the run game can do a little bit more damage. It would be nice. It would be helpful to not have Mahomes have to run as much as he did. It was great. He almost won the game, helped win the game because of it, but I don't know that you can sustain that level of Mahomes magic all season long starting week 1. That guy was going nuts. Was very effective with his rushes too. What do you think was the Chiefs' best in-season trade deadline trade? Off the top of my head, I don't know. Because last year they made some trades and they didn't even really use them. Maybe D-Hop last year, they traded for McCole a couple years ago. Who would you say? Nobody off the top of my head is like, oh yeah, that guy. Chiefs going to be 0-2, said Antoine. What's up? Summer saying Worthy could come back with a brace sometime. Yeah, I think he can. I think Worthy is probably coming back. He's playing in a brace. I don't think he's playing this week. Probably not next week. I even saw that the Chiefs signed Hal Presley back to the practice squad. So I do wonder part of me wonders if they're going to put Worthy on IR, short-term IR for 4 games. I won't put my mortgage on that happening, but I think Worthy's going to be out for a bit. Could be 3 to 6 weeks. He comes back, he's in a brace. Now, when you dislocate your shoulder, you can tear your labrum. Depending on how bad the tear is, the worse the tear, the bigger your chance of re-injury, even with a brace, because you're not just walking around. This isn't your biggest task of the day is picking up water. No, you're diving, you're sprawling out, you're grabbing passes in the air and getting hit by grown men. Big old brick houses. So, yeah, the chance of re-injury is high. Or it's increased for sure, even with a brace. And I actually feel like I have a little bit of authority to speak on shoulder stuff. Not a lot. I'm not a doctor, but I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, both on my labrum. And they're not fun. You'll be out for the season if he has to have surgery. And I hope not. But he might still have to have surgery after, which is unfortunate. I do want to say this before I forget. I'm giving away, thanks to a generous host or a generous guest, I'm giving away 2 tickets. They're VIP tailgate tickets. It's not tickets to the game this Sunday, but if you're already going to the game and you want some tickets for less VIP tailgate tickets, the first person that emails me, I will transfer them to you. I have them on my Ticketmaster account. If you email cole@hbtchiefs.com, I've got 2 tickets. They're 2 ticket for less VIP tailgate tickets. All food and drinks are included, including alcohol. It's not game tickets, but it's access to the VIP tailgate tent, which is in the parking lot outside of the stadium. My email is in the chat. The first person that emails me later today or tonight or tomorrow, I will when you email me, give me your Ticketmaster info, and I will transfer them to you from my account, and you can get a little bit of an upgraded tailgate experience if you're already going to the game. Jacob with the 10. What's up, man? Thoughts? Players to trade for / free agents. Breece Hall, Devon Achane, Swift. Wait. These all running backs? Okay. Walker, Taylor. Wide receiver options. DJ Moore. Pittman, Olave, Slayton. Defensive options. Cam Jordan, Justin Simmons, Bosa, Burns. Oh, some of those are free agents too. Okay. Yeah, I like Breece Hall probably a lot on that list over the rest in there. Achane is intriguing. When you say Swift, are we talking DeAndre Swift, like from the Bears? Only last name is a little difficult for me, but I know you're trying to fit all the characters in. I don't know that the Chiefs make a move for a wide receiver, personally. I just don't, because Rice is coming back. And they did have some depth there. If Worthy especially is coming back in a few weeks too, I think you try to ride it out. Because by the time you try to bring a guy in and get him acclimated with the system, you know what they could do? Trade for Justin Watson or sign McCole Hardman off the Packers practice squad. Nobody's going to love that. But those are 2 guys that you could literally bring in 2 or 3 days of practice. They could pretty much do whatever you need them to on the offense. I'm not saying I love the idea. I'm just saying those are more realistic options in my head. Defense, Justin Simmons, people have been saying it. He's still available. He's still a free agent. Still a free agent. DDT, the Raiders fan, cheering on a team that hasn't even won a playoff game in their Super Bowl before the Chiefs, or they haven't even won a playoff game in their stadium before the Chiefs won a Super Bowl in it. His team that's been irrelevant since I was about 5 is in here saying Chiefs is weak. All right. That's a choice. Although, I thought Geno Smith had a pretty good game. I like Brock Bowers a lot. He's on my fantasy team. So I have a lot of respect for Bowers, Max Crosby, Geno. I thought Geno had a pretty good game. Slamming with the 2. Rather than trading, I want McDuffie extension done. I don't think that's going to happen now since the season has started. I think they're not going to focus on it. And if McDuffie is the only one out there being able to cover, do you really want to spend $30 million a year? You need some other guys in there. So I do like the idea of extending McDuffie. I was team extend McDuffie, but they didn't get it done. They're probably going to revisit in the offseason. You have McDuffie on cost control his last year of his rookie deal this year, his fifth-year option for like $13.5 million next year. That's some very good cost control for a really, really good corner. Top 5 on the outside, probably best in the slot in the NFL, or top 3 for sure. But you've got to, somebody else besides that guy has to cover. You're scared for next game? Yeah, the Eagles, it's much respect. We have 900 people in here, so I am trying to balance super chats and all this stuff. So there might be some trolls in there that I'm just not seeing. But if there's probably some Eagles fans in here that are just like listening and hanging out, it's much respect to the Eagles. I thought the Chiefs had an opportunity to win the Super Bowl last year, but I did say they're outmatched statistically or position group by position group. I think the Eagles have the better roster. I was kind of hoping that Mahomes, the X factor, and some of the coaching would get the job done, and they got blown out. So I was wrong, but I did say, hey, if you're going to win that game, you need to put up at least 30. The Eagles are too good not to do that. They didn't do it, and they lost. So it's GG's. It's much respect. I don't really have a problem with the Eagles. The only disagreement that I will have with some Eagles fans is if they try to say Jalen Hurts is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I have him at 7, but that's still good. Some people have him out of the top 10, and they say he's not even good at all. I think they have a really good roster, but I still think Jalen Hurts is a very serviceable starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, God, dude, all they're doing, not everybody, but a lot of people are trolling on Jalen Hurts' average depth of target in that game. Well, did they win? Because how many people have been trolling Mahomes and his average depth of target because it's low? But guess what? The Chiefs are normally winning games. So you can critique this, you can critique that, but are they getting the job done and helping their team win? I do think if you have a wide receiver as talented as A.J. Brown, you should probably target him more than one time before the 2-minute warning happens. But hey, we just saw the Bengals literally soil their joggers against the Browns from an offensive standpoint. They had 7 yards of offense in the second half, and they're paying so much money to Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. It happens. It does happen. The Philly Special with the 10 to answer your title. No, they cannot win a rematch with the Eagles. Go Birds. Thanks so much for the 10, man. Shout out to the Philly Special. If you want some really good Eagles coverage, both Philly Special and Thomas Mott this week, they both make content kind of similar style to me in the sense of really concise and informative videos on the Eagles. So if you want to be really in the know of what's going on with the Eagles, both of those guys are going to get you really all you need to know on the team. Yeah, I'm going to do more of a preview later on in the week. I think the Chiefs absolutely can win this game against the Eagles, but you're probably going to have to play just about perfect. The defense can't come out playing like they did against the Chargers and win. It's not happening. It's just not. It's a couple different style quarterbacks, because even though Justin Herbert ran quite a bit, Jalen Hurts is more of a dual threat guy to me over Herbert. Dude, Herbert's insane, man. He lit the Chiefs defense up like a freaking Christmas tree. But yeah, that Eagles offense is great. Their defense has some really good pieces too. Young guys in their secondary. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, really good linebacker Zach Bond. Jalen Carter, he's playing. He's one of their best players on defense. They got guys on both sides of the ball. They are Super Bowl favorites for a reason. The Chiefs just lost Worthy. They came out a little bit anemic against the Chargers. If they put on any kind of performance like that against the Eagles, no, they're not winning the game. They really not. Sent the email right away. Ooh, Reaps. You got some tailgate VIPs. If you're the first one, you win. But yeah, I said when the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, I'm so used to saying they won it. Spoiled Chiefs fan talk. I said when the Eagles won the Super Bowl that they get bragging rights all offseason long, and I still get 40-6 comments on a random status. I'll just be like, wow, that was a really nice play by Mahomes. I know Eagles fan will be like 40-6. It's like, okay. Okay. They are still going about it, but it's a new season. It's not going to be an easy game. It's even if the Chiefs win it, man, it's not going to avenge the Super Bowl loss. It's just not. But it'll probably feel good to some of the players. It'll probably feel good to some of the fans. I would much prefer the Chiefs win any week than lose. So I think any fan wants the Chiefs to win. I think they can, but it is not going to be easy. Not at all. So everyone thinks the Eagles look good against the Cowboys. Yeah, so here's the thing. The Eagles and Cowboys, divisional game. The Chiefs and Chargers, divisional game. Those opponents know each other more than anybody else. Those games get weird. It's week 1. I don't think any team was perfect. I think the Eagles probably would have looked a little bit better if Jalen Carter played the whole game, but the flip side to that is I think the Chiefs would have looked better and probably would have won if Worthy played the entire game, but they didn't. And so an L is an L. Hats off to the Chargers. Hell of a game by Herbert. You move on. The difference is the Eagles get Jalen Carter back and Worthy's injured. So unfortunate, that's for sure. The Eagles look very beatable versus the Cowboys. Yeah, it's just a weird divisional game. I feel like the Bengals look very beatable against the Browns. It's also just week 1 game sample size. So Eagles D-line isn't good without Carter. Well, they're playing. Maybe that's your point. They looked worse than they really are because Carter wasn't there. Yeah, he's back, though. He's back. He is back. Did I miss a super chat? I might have. Marcus, oh, what's up, dude? Hope your knees are doing good. Thanks, man. Yeah, I had knee surgery last year, and it's still not right, but it's okay. Speaking of giveaways, any idea for a day this month? No, later. Later this month at some point. I'll look at the calendar and get that figured out for sure. You're talking member streams and all that? Later for sure. The Chiefs don't have any receivers. Well, yeah, you're down Rice and you're down Worthy for sure. I think Hollywood is okay. Juju is fine in a limited role. Tyquan Thornton's kind of your deep ball guy. But yeah, I don't think it's ideal. It's not ideal to not have Rice and Worthy. It would be like the Eagles losing A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Who the is their wide receiver 3? Maybe Jahan Dotson if he's still on the team. I think he is. I'm not trying to even be respectful. But it's just like most teams without their first 2 wide receivers. Like, what is Burrow going to do without Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be harder and it's going to be difficult. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. It's not going to be easy. Oh, maybe Mechie? Yeah, maybe. D-line is the worst. Yeah, the D-line did not do great, that's for sure. There were so many times Herbert just had time to throw. It was a lot. And it's tough because the threat of the run is real for the Chargers. And play action, he found a lot of success. I promise you the Eagles are watching that tape. And they're like, success off play action? Well, we got Saquon Barkley. Y'all were afraid of Amarion Hampton? Meaning biting on play action? Okay. We're going to do that. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to have some wrinkles and try to find some success, man. Brown really stepped up in the second half. Yeah, he looked better. The first half, the first few drives, Hollywood Brown was kind of thrust into the Worthy role and was rusty. But there's no way to negate that or to sidestep it. And then he started finding a rhythm for sure. Definitely did. Tom with the 2. What's up, Cole? What's up, dude? Lots happening. Check messages. Tom, hope you're doing well. Barkley won't be healthy all year? Oh, well, I hope so. Nice, dude. Tom got a nice red car. Ooh, that's kind of fire. Look at that car. I like that. Nice. Heck yeah. Love that. Where did I get this shirt? I got this shirt from Rick, dude. I don't know. I never remember. It's the local KC store in downtown Lee Summit. That's where I got it. Foundry or something like that. It's all KC merch. But, dude, it is kind of sick. I saw that shirt and I was like, I got to get that. I got to get that. Hello, Cole. You think we should trade for Chris Olave? No, but I like the idea. I don't think the Chiefs are trading for a receiver. Tyreek Hill is fun because you could probably plug him into the system pretty quickly. He's got more allegations that surfaced. You're going to have to eat it's complicated. I don't think, unless Worthy is out, I don't think they make a trade for a wide receiver. 4-time champs, plate 2. I saw that. 4-time champs on the license plate. Heck yeah. Alexa said maybe a dumb take on last game, but what do you think about them holding back on purpose to get through Brazil? Felt like only a select few were actually playing. I don't think any take somebody has is dumb. It's just, hey, do you agree or disagree? I probably disagree. We talked earlier, somebody said, do you think they were looking past the Chargers, focused on the Eagles? No, because I would actually argue that the Chargers game was more important than this Week 2 game because the Eagles are an NFC team and the Chargers are not only in the AFC, but they're in your division. I don't think anybody was holding back on purpose, or some guys maybe a little like, whoa, from an 11-hour flight and a 2-hour bus ride. I mean, maybe. That was probably a little bit tiring, but the Chargers made the same trip. They did come in a day earlier. Don't know if that helped or not. It was still a really close game, but I don't think so. I will say I think they got out-coached, and maybe there was, on some players that could have had a little bit more effort for sure, but I don't think they were looking past the Chargers or anything like that, no. Do they want the win against the Eagles? I mean, yeah, probably. I think they want to win every single week. I think you just 1 week at a time. And then the Chiefs have more emphasis on AFC West opponents than any other team in the NFL because it's their division. What's your prediction for the Chiefs' record this year? I said about 13 wins, give or take one game each way. A lot of people saying trade for Snead. I mean, that sounds fine, but is he healthy? He missed most of last year. And just kind of came back off of being injured. Seemed like the Chargers had a little more passion. Sure. I really think Worthy getting hurt threw off the offense for a few drives, but then they scored a lot after that. They scored like 2 or 3 touchdowns or whatever it was and 2 field goals. I don't remember the final score off the top of my head. I have it pulled up, 27-21. What was it? 2 touchdowns, a missed extra point, and 2 field goals. So, yeah, I mean, they did try, but they fell short. And the Chargers, obviously they won it. They lost 7 games in a row to the Chiefs. Wouldn't you want that W? I would. We'll see what Kelsey says tomorrow on New Heights about the collision. Yeah, I just watched a video from former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn earlier this evening, and he is of the impression that Worthy ran too deep in his route because he tried to cut back. What happens if I full screen this? Okay, yeah. Looks about as crazy as I thought it would. But I'll show you where Worthy is. Do they play it? Yeah, so Worthy is here. And then he tries to cut back. And a former NFL tight end that used to play for the Chiefs thinks Worthy went a little bit too far. He tried to correct. See him? He tried to adjust his angle. Kelsey at the same time was getting shoved by, I think, the linebacker in coverage, and they collided. Maybe, here's the thing. Kelsey is not going to get on New Heights and blame Worthy. I promise you that. He's probably going to take accountability for it. He's probably going to say, I feel awful. And could he have done something a little bit different? I mean, probably. But it was a bang-bang play. It was a fluke accident, and it happened. Kelsey actually gets pushed back slightly. Yeah, so I think Worthy ran a little bit too deep, tried to adjust, and then Kelsey got pushed back a little bit too. Probably a little bit of both, but it happens. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't happen. and it knocked Worthy out for however many games, and he won't be the same probably till he gets offseason surgery, most likely. I really don't think Chiefs Super Bowl odds have dropped. Maybe not. If you're going to put money on a team to win the Super Bowl, the team that's made 5 of the last 6 is probably a decent idea. Will they? I don't know. It's really hard to do that every year. The Bills aren't getting worse right now. The Ravens aren't getting worse. I think the Chiefs got better on paper, but they need to play better than they did week 1. I'll tell you that right now. We often play like crap at the beginning. Yeah, a lot of teams play some ugly football. I mean, if you watched week 1 games in general, there was some ugly football. Did you watch the game last night? I wanted to pluck my eyeballs out until the second half. It was crazy. Now then, J.J. McCarthy got 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Bazooka Bongs is really he's making a pro argument for Hurts over Mahomes. Yeah, I don't entertain dumbass arguments. Sorry, dude. Keep it pushing. Chiefs don't have a Super Bowl worthy roster. Others got better. The Chiefs don't have a Super Bowl worthy roster, but with 5 or so key players injured, they made it to the Super Bowl, and those players are back, and they upgraded left tackle and cornerback room. I just disagree respectfully a lot, but that's okay. If you're not a troll and that's seriously your take, that's fine. Is Worthy out next week? Most likely, yeah. Yeah, most likely. Aaron Rodgers will not make the Pro Bowl after week 1. Hey, he had a really good week 1 game, though. DJ Moore cost me my fantasy week with that fumble at the end. Nah, that's crazy. I would like the Eagles if it wasn't for their coach, fans, and players. I actually think Hurts is a good dude. I've never seen any. I think he's a maniac. He's like winning Super Bowl 59. They're up by like 20-something, and he's just sitting there on the bench, just staring at the ground. It does not look happy, not even a little bit. And his teammates are like, come on, man, we're about to win. He's like, it's not over till it's over. He said, I'm still not over Super Bowl 57. I'm like, dude, this dude is insane. He is about to win Super Bowl 59, and he's just sitting there on the bench saying, I'm still not over Super Bowl 57. I don't have a problem with, a lot of players on there. Is it possible that under Matt Nagy, the Chiefs have been less prepared as when EB was OC? I mean, maybe. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's really tough for me to know. Now, the stats are there, and there's the decline. You had the worst receiver room in the NFL a couple years ago, and then all the injuries last year. Tough to know. But for whatever reason, they wanted to move on from EB. They had a chance to bring him back, even as an assistant coach in some capacity. Who knows? Maybe EB didn't want to come back. But he's now a running back coach for the Bears. So, I don't know. They wanted to move on. Do I think Jalen Royals is playing this week? A higher chance for sure. We should get some sort of an injury update this week. I think the injury report day 1 comes out tomorrow. Do you think Tush Push should be thrown out? Nah. I mean, I think it's boring, but they didn't vote it out. It was close. They didn't vote it out this year, so it's just here for another year, and we're definitely going to have to prepare for that on Sunday. It's really 4 down territories a lot of time for the Eagles. You need about 8 yards and 3 downs for the Eagles because 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you could probably tush push it if you want to and get it. It's basically automatic. Other teams have tried it. I watched Josh Allen try a form of a tush push the other night, and it did not look good. Not every team can execute it like that. Who's Hal Presley? He was on the Chiefs 90-man roster and was waived during cutdowns and just recently brought back to the practice squad today. I just think because the Chiefs are dealing with injuries in the wide receiver room. You just want to wake up one day and see the Chiefs have their 2019 offense firepower again. Yeah, 2018, 2019, really Tyreek, Kelsey, those were some really fun years for sure. I just want to win. I don't know that I care what it looks like sometimes. I think when Rice comes back, the offense will look better. But I think a big key is this. Bloxy said, what's your opinion on Josh Simmons week 1? I thought he did pretty good. He did allow the most pressures on the team. He allowed 4. But I didn't see any like extremely quick concerning losses, and he was going up against Khalil Mack quite a bit. So I think Josh Simmons, already what we've seen from him, is a more serviceable left tackle than anybody they had last year, and he should only get better. He's a rookie. He's going to go through growing pains. You're going to go through growing pains on that left side for sure. Growing pains in the safety room because Justin Reed's gone and Jaden Hicks is in year 2, and you're trying to work him into the role a bit more. And then Kingsley, first year playing guard. Josh Simmons, first year at left tackle in the NFL. But I thought he did pretty good. And that's a big key to the Chiefs' success at all this season. Can the O-line hold? Because you can just see it. If the O-line holds, Mahomes can win an AFC championship game against the Cincinnati Bengals, throwing passes to who? MVS, Sky Moore, Marcus Kemp, because everybody else is injured? Because the O-line held. So that's going to be the key in this one. It's cliche, but games really are won or lost in the trenches. And you could probably argue that for Brazil. The Chiefs got no pressure on Herbert. Not really. That dude was bored back there. Or having a lot of fun. But I like to say bored because he's over there like, dude, I just get to stand here? Yeah, it was pretty bad showing from the D-line. The season got you stressed out already. It was definitely a stressful week 1 game. That's for sure. Honey Badger banging the drum Sunday. Yes, sir, Tom. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. No Jawan Taylor penalty either. That would be helpful. Tay-Day with the 5 question for Cole Breaks the Huddle. Do you think Russell Wilson needed Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett, and Marshawn Lynch? He's been a big downturn since they left him. I think, too, you really got to credit that defense. The Seahawks defense during that time, insane. But he has not lived up to expectations ever since then. I think the Seahawks won that trade not even close to the Broncos, and Pete Carroll was almost a genius. They got a haul for him. And now Pete Carroll's with the Raiders and Geno Smith is there, which is crazy too. But yeah, Russ did not look good week 1 either with the Giants. Thank you for the 5-bomb. How pissed do you think the coaches were after Brazil? I bet everybody was pissed. You want to win every game. So Spags has to be pretty upset. He has any good coach is also going to just take accountability for themselves and put that blame on them too. But yeah, I'm sure everybody was pretty upset. Important to note, said Andy with the 5, Casey played pretty badly against a good Chargers team and only lost by 1 score. Could have and should have been much worse. Yeah, they executed in some different ways in order to keep the score a little bit closer. And the Chargers, they really mismanaged that last drive in the second quarter to give the Chiefs an opportunity to have the ball back with no timeouts and about 40 seconds left to go in the half. They drove up the field, throw to Thornton, back-to-back offensive tackle penalties, though. I think it was maybe false starts both times to back them up, made it more difficult, but they throw a quick out to Noah Gray and they run the fire drill. That made it a 1-score game before half. It was 6 to 13 at half? Without that, you're in trouble. So yeah, they didn't really play their great game. I thought Justin Herbert played one of his best games ever. And yeah, it was still a potentially it was within the Chiefs' reach, sorta. They brought it down to a 1-score game at the end, but the defense had to make a stop because you're down 9 points. The kicker, really, no pun intended, was Harrison Butker missing that extra point. He made an awesome 59-yard fire drill field goal, which was awesome, but then missed the extra point. So the Chiefs are playing catch-up, man. You're then trying to go for 2 later after you score, and that's how it was a 2-point game, and the Chargers score 7, and it's a 9-point game. It's out of reach, so the extra point being missed was actually pretty unfortunate as well. There was a lot of missed extra points week 1 of the NFL season. Everyday John with the 33 months. Thank you, man. I think it wasn't terrible. It was a 1-score game, not a blowout. They will definitely right the ship. Moore needs to take over at right tackle, and we got this. Yeah, I think Jawan Taylor has to be on a short leash, man. You can't do the 4 penalties every game. He's the most flagged guy. I just did a short on this today. Jawan Taylor has to be on a short leash. If he's got multiple penalties in this game, you have to bench him. And when I say multiple, I just mean more than 1. 1, okay, we'll give you 1. 2, I don't know, maybe you should. 3, get his out of there. You're done. Bench, Velcro, don't get up. I think there are a lot of fans that wouldn't even want him to dress out now. But Jawan Taylor dressing out is needed, especially if Jalen Moore goes in, because he's going to be... Here's the kind of the complex issue with that. Jalen Moore, he can play both sides, right and left. Jawan Taylor really can't. So if you bench Jawan, which is fine, I don't mind it, but he's your backup, and let's say Josh Simmons gets hurt, well, Jawan's going back in, and Jalen Moore is probably kicking to the left side. I think that's how it would go down, unless they want to just go with Wanye. But again, we're speaking a bunch of hypotheticals here. Don't want injuries. It's not happening. Tom with the 2, over-under defensive points allowed this week. Wait, over-under defensive points allowed this week? Oh, like a pick 6 or something? I mean, I'm going under a touchdown, hoping that it doesn't happen. Hoping that it doesn't happen, Tom. Lundy with the 5 months. I think we should bench Taylor after this week if penalties don't stop. Maybe, did I just read that? Or was there more than one person talking about it? Yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with you. What's up, Kevin? Thanks for the 5. Heard Allen Robinson said he can help the Chiefs wide receiver room. What are the odds of them signing him or another receiver? Also, maybe bring back Justin Reed. Would love both of those ideas. Justin Reed's under that 3-year, $30 million contract with the Saints. He's not moving because they have Tyrann Mathieu retired. I think Julian Blackmon, didn't he get injured or banged up or something? Was that not him? I thought the Saints had a safety get banged up. It was either a Saints safety or he was a former Saints safety. I get my wires crossed when I look at all the news across the league, but yeah, he's not moving. Allen Robinson, I don't know that he moves the needle right now. It would be a different story if we knew for sure that Worthy was going to be out for the season, but I don't think he's going to be. Adam Schefter basically said, no, I think he's going to be back in a few weeks. He kind of said week to week. It's not a season-ending injury. Yeah. Any Worthy updates? That's all I really had. I hope they trade for Tyreek Hill, but it's not going to happen. He already had his chances last season and last game, said Marcus with the 5. Yeah, I think Jawan Taylor's on a short leash. I really do. I do think so. Kit Kat in the house, one positive thing I took away from the Chiefs game is that we might be getting Mahomes magic again. I mean, did you see the throws he was making? Oh, yeah, he was doing all that he could to try to win that game. He was playing incredible football. I don't love that he had to basically do that in order to try to get that even close because there was no run game. You couldn't do anything. So it was either Mahomes was running and extending plays with his legs or throwing passes because the running back struggled. And it was some on the O-line. It's not always the running backs, but it was rough for sure. I loved how he played. I just hope he gets more help than that sometime down the road. Jay with the 5, Chiefs are right where we want to be. Doubted. I don't care what happened last time. I've seen crazy things happen. Chiefs are winning this one. Let's freaking go. Yeah, some teams are a bad matchup. I don't love the matchup position group by position group, especially who their defensive coordinator is, but it really is any given Sunday for a reason. How many times we've seen the Chiefs go into a game and it's like, oh yeah, they should blow this team out. Shouldn't even be close. And it's either close or the Chiefs lose or vice versa. The Chiefs have no business winning this game. This team over here is better on paper. And that team has a turnover or a malfunction. They miss a field goal, something. You have to execute. It's the NFL. Parity is very slim. I don't think that I said it right, but just slim margins in the NFL here. You just got here. Can you start over? Yeah, sure. Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday night Q&A hangout. What's up, Eric? Thanks so much for the 10 bomb. Thank you. Tom with the 2. Does Brashard or anybody else give us more juice? Brashard Smith might be the most dynamic running back that the Chiefs have in that room, but he just is a rookie and lacks experience at the position. So from a juice perspective, Brashard Smith is probably that guy, but he only played 8 snaps last week. He's the guy. He's going to play sometimes. They're going to slowly work him in and get him ready. Do you think Justin Simmons is possible? I mean, maybe, but the Chiefs also only have $2 million or so in cap space. So they don't have a lot of cap space. You could create some space. But after one game, I don't think the Chiefs are going to quickly make moves here. Just don't. Chiefs are supposed to win 8 games last year, according to a few people in the preseason. Yeah, don't buy into the preseason hype, that's for sure. Yep. Yeah, Goddard, I mentioned when you look at the Eagles' weapons, it's not just A.J. Brown. It's not just Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert will burn you too. And he probably will catch some passes in this game that you're like, dude, are you kidding me? And then they have Saquon. Oh, yeah. Jawan, Skymore, Tony. Only coincidence we overstick to air-prone players? Well, you can't move on from Jawan Taylor right now. His cap hit is $26 million. What are you going to do? So you can't move on from him. They did try as long as they possibly could with Sky. You let Tony go a couple years into that trade, but yeah. Kevin with the 5, do you think the defensive line issues with pressures will somewhat get better with Omar Norman Lott's return? I hope so, but he didn't look good in any of the preseason games because his ankle wasn't right. So don't let him come back until his ankle is right. He'll probably raise the floor because who else is in there? You got Tillery, of course, Chris Jones. That's ceiling. Tillery, Chris Jones, Derek Nottie that you just traded for, and I think they elevated Marlon Tuipulotu, and he played from the practice squad. Yeah, he'll raise the floor, but I don't know if he's magically going to give you a bunch of pass rush juice, even though he had that crazy win rate in college. They had him put on some weight to try to stop the run a little bit more, and I feel like he lost a bit of that burst in that first step. Bring back Kadarius Toney. Okay, get him out of here. Who you got Thursday? Packers look good. I'm not even lying. I don't know who's playing. Obviously Packers and somebody, I guess. Thursday Night Football. Let's see who's playing. Thursday Night Football TV schedule. September 11th, we've got the Commanders and Packers. That is going to be a good game. That's a tough one. My gut says Washington, but I'm sure the Packers will win that. That's a tough game. I don't know. That's a really tough game. If number 1 can be effective at all, Burkholder will know. Oh, yeah. Xavier Worthy. Sorry, I'm over here like, and then Burkholder? Yeah. If Worthy can be effective at all, Burkholder will know. Yeah, I still think based on the injury, he might need a couple weeks, but crazier things have happened. I highly doubt he plays on Sunday. Just needs some time to heal a little bit. Yeah, Packers defense looked really good. And Jordan Love, I don't think he lit up the box score, but he was pretty precise with his throws. Then they just got Micah Parsons as well. He only played like 20 snaps. It wasn't a lot, but they'll keep working him in. Who's the ref team? No, it's not Carl Sheffers. I don't know who it is, but it's not him. Do I have a split beard? No. I got Chiefs beating the Eagles this Sunday, Cole. Okay, Maddox, I like that. Yeah, the Chiefs are 1.5 point underdogs. It's kind of close on the odds right now. How do you feel about Noel Williams getting more reps? Sure. I just don't know if they are confident in him to get much more reps in the defense now as he's continuing to ramp up, work in as a rookie, and soak up the system. But I think it's got to be Fulton, McDuffie, Jalen Watson. Those are your top 3. Gelati greater than a Minihue. That was very limited snaps, very small sample size. But I would like to see Gelati rotate in more, for sure. Why wouldn't the Packers play Parsons every snap? Well, supposedly he's still dealing with the back issue. There's a little bit of a back issue going on, and then he just got there. He'll probably play more this week. Put him in, coach. Cole, when Rice and Worthy are back, do you think we could put up 30 points or more? I mean, I think they could put up many points needed to win the game and not much more because Andy Reid doesn't like to run up the score. They put up 30 or 31 against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs when it was needed to get it done. But yeah, here's my thing. If the O-line holds, I think the Chiefs can score more points. I know that sounds elementary and basic, but if Mahomes can't step back in the pocket and go through a couple reads here and there, sometimes No, it's going to be tough because you don't have a dynamic run game either. So you really need time in a pass-heavy offense for the play to develop a little bit. Even Worthy said, and this is unfortunate because he's not going to play, so it doesn't matter, but Worthy was talking he did an interview with, I can't remember the podcast name right now, but he did an interview before the week 1 game that came out. And he said, if you watch the film in the Super Bowl, he's like, there were routes where Chiefs receivers were getting open, but the trenches were getting worked over, essentially. So there wasn't time for the play to develop. Yeah, the pivot. That's it. That's it. I think it's time for a new DC and OC. Ooh. I don't know about a new DC, but I'm fine with the new OC. Andy Reid runs the offense, calls the plays, but if you could go get another guy in there to infuse some newness, some different stuff, and bounce ideas off of Andy Reid and company, and even just a guy that is like, oh, hey, I see the way you're using this guy, but what if you did this instead? And it's not that Andy Reid wouldn't see that, but it's just new ideas probably wouldn't hurt. I don't think Spags needs to go. I don't know why, after the Chiefs have had one of the best defenses in the NFL the last few years, why Spags would need to go, but I'm fine with Nagy moving on for sure. When will the Chiefs sign McCole Hardman? Next week. Should we use Brashard Smith as a temporary receiver? He has hands. They will, but only in a limited role. Because even at practice, he's working in with the running backs. He's not learning the playbook really like a receiver. Cole, do you think Rashee Rice could be a top 5 receiver? Yeah, maybe. But he's missing 6 games of the season, so you're not going to see that by season's end at all. But do I think he could be a very effective receiver for the Chiefs, and the offense is going to funnel through him upon his return, and it's going to make the Chiefs offense much more dynamic and dangerous? Yes. Kevin with the 5, if you had been in charge of the draft picks, which running back would have been your ideal pick, and which round would you have gotten him? I would need to just, honestly, Kevin, go back and look at what running backs were taken when, because I had some guys that I liked, but my mind is so removed from the draft now. Obviously, I liked Omarion Hampton. I liked Quinshaw Judkins too. I didn't know that he was going to be going through the legal issues that he did by any means, but I would have to just go back and look through the list, and I don't know exactly what round they should have taken him. I was talking earlier about, okay, can I do this? Oh, I might have found a website that'll just pull them all up. Oh, nice. Here we go. Look at this. Yeah, I liked Quinshaw Judkins. I did like Travion Henderson as well, but the Chiefs aren't picking here. The Chiefs got Simmons at the end of round 1, and they're not picking again. Wait. Can I sort this by... Is this in order? Yeah, this is in order. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I liked some of the guys that went early. I liked Caleb Johnson, some aspects about his game. He had some fumble issues that kind of concerned me. Dylan Sampson, I liked him too. And he was in the 4th round. So that it was like kind of this range where I'm like, oh, get a guy. 4th round, 5th round, somewhere here. I know a lot of K-State guys were saying Giddens, Devin Neal, KU people were kind of yelling his name too. You can't go back and change it, but there were definitely some options that I was wondering if the Chiefs would go that direction. Jacob with the 10, could you imagine if a final second situation in Buffalo-Baltimore game happened to the Chiefs, internet would break? I would like to see Cliff Kingsbury reunite with Mahomes. That'd be fun to have him as an OC. That would definitely be fun. I appreciate the 10. Imagine if final second situation in Buffalo Ravens game happened to the Chiefs. I'm trying to remember, how did the game end? The Bills came back and down 15-1. Bills Ravens box score. I'm just kind of hazy now on what happened. I watched the game. What happened at the end of the game? The field goal? Oh, like 3 and out. The Ravens go 3 and out, and then the Bills get the ball back and drive down the field. Maybe there was a penalty or something that I'm just not remembering. But yeah, that was a crazy game. Lots of back and forths. That was a lot of fun. Oh, Henry fumble. Yeah. Yeah, that was part of the comeback, right? Henry fumble, and then 4 plays, 30 yards. You had like a fluke catch by Keon Coleman that was deflected off of a different receiver Josh was throwing to. Then the Ravens go 3 and out. The Bills drive back down the field, 9 plays, 66 yards, kick the field goal, win it. How would I feel about Pacheco for Tyreek trade? I wouldn't like the running back room to get worse. So I don't like that. But if Tyreek Hill came back to Kansas City, who's getting number 10? That's my question. Pacheco's keeping that probably. Yeah, Alexander got burned by Palmer on that last drive. Sideline shot. Yep. Jacob, thanks again for the 10, man. Tom with the 2. I think the Chiefs win 24-27. Final drive with 3 minutes left. Another game-winning drive by QB1. You'll love to see it. Shaq with the 5. Hello, Chiefs Kingdom. Thank you, man. Longtime Birds fan here, but just want to wish you guys a great game. That Mahomes guy is pretty scary. Should be cinema. Well, thanks for the 5, man, and the kind words. Obviously, you guys, the Eagles put BTA to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough game. My confidence level isn't over the moon. I think if the Chiefs had Worthy, I would be feeling more confident for sure. I still think the Chiefs can win this game, but the defense has to play better. The D-line needs to get some pressure on Hurts. You can't overbite on play action and leave all these guys wide open like Herbert did. If you thought Omarion Hampton was scary, Saquon Barkley is 3 times, 4 times as scary. So there are aspects of this game that concern me, but I also know it's not the exact same Eagles team as last year either. They have a couple deficiencies here or there. If the offense is probably going to need to score like 30 points for the Chiefs if they want to win this game. I said that for the Super Bowl, but I really think that for this one too, especially if the defense even looks close to the same that they did week 1. Patrick Mahomes is going to have a legacy game for them to probably win this one. Yeah, anybody can win. It's any given Sunday, and you never know. Could Hurts throw can he throw a turnover? Can he throw a fumble? Can Hurts throw an interception or Saquon fumble? We just watched Derrick Henry fumble. Sure, crazier things have happened. Players make plays. You never know. Could Tyquan Thornton or somebody house a kick return or something? Sure, crazier things have happened, but you've got to play a really good game. Really good game against that team. Best of luck, Shaq. Thanks for the 5 and the kind words. Antonio with the 5. I hope we can turn this loss around onto the division. Wait. Turn this loss around. Oh, hold on to the division before Riceworthy gets back. I'm going to go Casey. You're going to the Eagles game, Chiefs-Eagles game, hoping to see a win. Yeah, turn the loss around and don't get too far away from some of the division that is going to be very difficult to overcome if the wins and losses start to get a little far apart. Not because the Chiefs can't win a bunch of games in the back half of the season. That's actually when their schedule gets a little bit easier. But that is also when you play 5 of your 6 AFC West games. So they become very important in probably the most competitive division in all of football. If it's not the NFC North, it is the AFC West. No doubt about it. Tom with the 2. Is play action our defense's kryptonite? Yeah. It seems like it. I feel like Spags has struggled against play action off and on for a while. You love respectful other team fans in chat. Gives me hope for the world. Yeah, there's always going to be trolls, but there's also sincere guys. There's a guy in our Zoom call every month. He's an Eagles fan. His name's Justin. Really nice guy. Should we get Justin Jefferson? Yeah, definitely. Chiefs are probably starting through week 3 as 0-3. Unfortunately, hate to see it, but I won't be surprised win if it happens. Jeez. 0-3, they lose to the Giants too? I hope not. I really hope not. This is the first time I'm nervous going to a home game, said Island Hacker. I went to the AFC Championship last year. Yeah, the Eagles are good, and we just watched them win a very convincing game in the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs can... I'll tell you this, I'll never count the Chiefs out. They've won more games than anybody since 2018. Games that were close, that were down to the wire. Maybe they shouldn't have won on paper, but you can't count them out. You just got to play a really clean game. Cole, do you think we could beat the Eagles on Sunday? Yeah, man. For sure. Tom with the 2. Name the best Chiefs quarterback at play action. The best Chiefs quarterback at play action. It's not Mahomes because they don't do it. Completely different offense. DeBerg. Gannon. That's a good one. Elvis Gerback. Trent Green. Steve DeBerg. There it is. Tom gave the answer pretty quick. Cole, is Rashee Rice back for the Raiders game? Yes, week 7. Joe Montana. He had Marcus Allen. Love that. I do wish, let's just talk about that for a half second. I do wish the Chiefs would run more play action. They don't do it very much, and their play action is out of the gun RPO style, but I think some play action would open up some stuff for the Chiefs offense as well. They do it a little bit from under center, but not a lot. What's up, AJ? Yep, Gannon. Yeah, I was pretty young for a lot of these QBs here, but I watched a lot of the games, and I remember my dad, dude, this is what I remember my dad doing. Taking this brick, the bad call brick. This is his bad call brick from the 90s. And he would just chuck it at our box TV. I can't believe I found this in storage. Can't believe it. Well, man, I appreciate everybody hanging out. I think we still got 800 people in here, but we've been live for an hour and 30 minutes now. I'm going to call it a day, but we got a big day tomorrow. We got an Eagles preview with Thomas Mott. He's an Eagles creator with 100K subs, so we're going to talk some Chiefs Eagles in that one. We've got, I think, an interview with Seth Kaiser coming back onto the channel this week as well. A lot of content to cover as we get ready for Chiefs Eagles. So football's back. I'm stoked. Thursday Night Football looks like a great game as well. Appreciate everybody hanging out, holding it down, asking questions, super chats, memberships, mods holding it down. I'll check my email here later so we can get those VIP tailgate tickets out to a winner here within the next day or so. But appreciate y'all, and until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?